Hi readers, today in Reading Workshop we are going to be using our interactive reading notebook and a pencil. I'm going to use my pen so you can see what I've written down. Earlier, before this video, you should have listened to the story, The Fantastic Flying Books of Mr. Morris Lusmore. In this book, Morris Lusmore loves to read. He thinks his life is like a book, and every day he writes what has happened to him. One day a storm passes through town and blows all the words from his book. His world is then left upside down and gray. He wanders around until a lady holding flying books comes past and gives him one of her books to read. She shows him the way to a local library. When he is there, he takes care of the books and his life becomes colorful again. When Morris has books back in his life becomes brighter and happier and more colorful. Morris has a more fulfilled life when he's surrounded by what he loves. Today, we're going to be talking about introducing how we will be able to access our books through e-learning, and then how we as responsible readers are to keep track of the books that we read. In your reader's notebook, you're going to go ahead and open up to the table of contents. We are going to insert number 7. Page 7 is going to be what readers look and sound like. On the date, you're going to put the date of 8/21-20. After we have finished with page 7, today we're also going to be putting page 8, which is going to be our reading list. And we're going to begin our reading list on the same day. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 7, which is the page after what we finished from yesterday. At the top, I'm going to write a number 7. And on the opposite side, write a number 8. This way, we're ensuring that we know exactly what is to be placed on these 2 pages, and we can quickly come back to it at a different time. So looking back at our table of contents, page 7 is going to be called What Readers Look and Sound Like. So we're going to place that at the top for the title, What Readers Look and sound like. And then go ahead and underline it to make sure you remember this is the title of today's lesson. Because we're going to look at 2 different aspects of a reader, we're going to go ahead and make a T-chart. So I'm going to skip a line, try to draw a line about halfway through your page, and then having 2 rows, I'm going to draw a line horizontally as well to give myself enough room for my titles. On the left side, I'm going to focus on looks like, and the opposite is going to be sounds like. So we're going to talk about some of the things that a reader does and what we could spot with our eyes. So we're going to just put a quick drawing of an eyeball. You can draw it to your best of ability. It can just be a quick picture. So we draw the eyes, and then we can put some eyelashes on our eyes. So what does it look like? The first thing that we can say that a reader looks like, our students are reading books. So we're going to say they're reading a book. I'm going to go ahead and skip at least 1 or 2 lines, and then I'm going to put the next thing is that they're looking at resources. So resources could include your notebook. They might be using stickies. And there's lots of other resources we might use, articles, mentor text. So these are just some of the resources we might be using throughout our year. We are going to have access to lots of books. And in our e-learning situation, we're going to do this by using the website called Epic. We might work with partnerships. This will look a little different than when we are in the classroom working with a partnership with a student next to you. But when we have opportunities for partnerships, this is also when we will talk about how do we turn and talk about our thinking or what we've just read. We will use opportunities to use an anchor chart. And just like with other aspects of our e-learning, anchor charts look a little bit different. We will be putting our anchor charts right into our interactive notebook so you can have your own copy of the important information that we would have displayed on an anchor chart in the classroom. And then the last one is that we will have some conferences. Conferences could be a whole group, it could be in small groups, or it could be one-on-one. When we look at the next side and it says sounds like, this could be done silently or we're going to put a slash whisper. You can do this with a buddy. If you were asked to share a mentor text to read together, you would sit side by side and whisper, read together. So we're putting buddy reading. Readers oftentimes talk about the story. So this can be in a grand conversation once we're done with reading a particular story together. This could be sharing out what you've read in your independent book, but talk about story. We can give our characters compliments. We can share our thinking. And we can have where we add to conversation. So when we add to a conversation, we will learn how to be able to add to a discussion, such as saying the statements, I agree with Brittany that I think the character is having a struggle with her, and then we could talk about what that particular book is talking about, or I disagree and here's why. So we're going to be learning some stems on how to have a conversation and add on or try to think about how we could say something differently. So these are just different ways that we might identify what a reader or readers look and sound like either in the classroom or during our e-learning process. The next page, we are going to go back once again to see what the title of the page is. This is going to be our reading list. Our reading list is going to be where we get to keep track of the books that we are reading. So our reading list. We are going to keep track of the books that we read together, but you can also keep track of the books that you read independently. These could be the books that you have in your home library, in your bedroom, when you go to visit the public library, if you're using a Kindle and finding books online or on Epic. So we're going to have some books that we read. So we can go ahead and put a number 1, and we're going to put the books that we've read together this week. I'm going to create the list of our books that we've read this first week of 4th grade, and then I will upload the picture so you can go ahead and record all on your first page of your reading list.